Okay, we are live. Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is David Adam Gill. I'm the Artist Director for New Ambassadors Theater Company, and welcome to Lab 48. We have a great evening of scenes for you tonight with playwrights Ben Dworken, Amanda Hanna, and John Austin Wiggins. And we have some exceptional talent with us, but I do want to do a shout out to Kathy DiBiasi, because this is her first time with us. She'll be reading the stage directions for all three pieces. So welcome, everyone. As you know, this is New Ambassadors Theater Lab. We are a theater development lab. Pieces are read and we have a feedback session afterwards, and I will explain all that later, but I want to give you a little information about New Ambassadors. We are a playwright-focused company. We only do new work. We have some very talented playwrights, and we also have a really exceptional acting company with us too. And we just finished Blurring Boundaries, which was our summer festival that got moved to the fall, and it was live streamed, and it went really well, and it was very popular and people loved it. We're moving on. We're going to jump past October Fear Fest this year because of the timing, and we're going to go straight to February, and we'll be doing one of my favorite festivals, Heartbroke, after the week after Valentine's Day, because Heartbroke to me is the candy that's left on the shelves and everything that's marked down. That was the impetus for Heartbroke. So that's coming up. We are a 501c3, so if you feel generous, you can go to our website and there's a donation page. You can Venmo us. Ben is going to put some of the links up. He's a playwright tonight, but he's juggling a few tasks here. Excuse me. And everything you give can be a tax write-off, and it really, absolutely everything goes to funding our programs, paying our artists. We pay everyone when they're involved in one of our festivals. We also have something coming up that's pretty great. We have a playwright who's been developing his series during the lab sessions. His name is Perrin Pomato, and his series is called This Encounter May Begin?
May now begin.
May now begin. I'm sorry. I'm actually part of it, and so the actors here are part of it. So he got a grant from the New York State Arts Council, and the grant basically funds a live reading of this series, and there's 7 episodes in the series. It's really crazy. It's wonderful, and it will be live streamed on YouTube on October 28th at 8 p.m. So please join us for that. There's information on the website and as well as on Facebook. So join us for that. Feedback. So every playwright that participates in the lab gets about 25 minutes. And within that 25 minutes, they present their scene, and then there's a feedback session. The feedback session, we do it live on Zoom, but on YouTube, there is a feedback link that we generally put up. And if you've ever participated in anything like this, it's so important, feedback to the playwright, whether they're communicating everything, the piece is landing. If you have any thoughts about the 3 questions that we pose, which is popcorn moments. What are the things that stay with you, the things that you like, turns of phrases, imagery? What was that? Was there a point where you dropped out? Did you get confused in any way? And then the 3rd question is, what did you like within the scene that you'd like to see further developed? Was there a relationship that you were like, oh, I wish they went a little further on that? That's the type of feedback. It's all positive. It's all giving the playwright the tools to move forward with their pieces. And that's what this is. And then some of them end up being in our festivals, or we have full stage readings of the plays now that COVID is eking towards an end.
Amen to that, Gill. Amen to that, Gill. Amen to that, Gill.
Yes, exactly. So that's what this lab is all about. It's about positive reinforcement, really helping the playwrights hear it and have an audience that reacts to it. One last thing I'd like to do is to wish one of my favorite people in the world, playwright Ben, who's also a company member. It was his 34th birthday yesterday. So we want to wish Ben a happy birthday.
Birthday, Ben!
And many, many more. And as you can tell by the smile, that's the energy he brings all the time, and that's why we love him. Happy birthday.
See that coming. Oh, God.
Yeah, I just did it, Ben. I wasn't going to ask your permission. All right,
I'm
so
a company member. Thank God. I'm a company member.
you
I
are
made
a
it.
very important company member,
I made
Ben,
it.
and a playwright. And speaking of Ben being a playwright, we have his piece up first. His piece is called Stone Cold Crazy by Benjamin Dworken. Ben is going to introduce his cast, and he is going to tell you a little bit about the play, but not too much. And then Ben, if you have a question that you're looking, to pose to your audience, is there something specific you want them to pay attention to, or do you just want to have them do general feedback?
Okay, so this piece is called Stone Cold Crazy. And this was a piece I worked on in David Adam Gill's playwriting class during the pandemic. It was originally a prompt where I had to take a song title and make it into a play. And then over time, I picked it back up and started to play with it. And a lot came out of it that really, yeah. So I just like to hear general feedback and what I could do to change it, because the goal is to get it into Fear Fest in 2022. So.
Oh.
Perfect, Ben. Okay, so if everyone not involved can mute themselves and get them and take their video out. And I'm sorry, Kathy, you'll take your video out too, but you'll keep your sound on. Thank you.
I'm Mandy Murphy. I'm playing Cassandra.
Brad Mackarowski reading Chad.
And I'll be doing the stage manager.
And that's Kathy again. Kathy, whenever you're ready.
Lights up on Cassandra, sitting on the couch, texting on her phone. It's the middle of the night. Think 1 a.m. Chad enters in a business suit, all wasted.
My God, are you okay?
Try being around those big shots for so long. Couldn't even get out of there. I told him I had to get home to relieve you. I needed to get home to my baby. How is he? His mother's hardly here.
Relax. Maddie is passed out. He and I had so much fun while you were gone. We played, I fed him, and rocked him right to sleep.
I mean, my colleagues don't even know when to call it a night. I told them I had to be back around 10. Drives me nuts that my father is always encouraging them. With me, it's always this and that. Sell this, sell that. I have a child,
Yes, who is asleep. And besides, I could use the extra cash.
I appreciate that. He needs that kind of care. Now, my wife is hardly around, especially with this new position she got. With me, I'm working with my dad, and I never get a break.
Don't sweat it. Maddie is so adorable. It makes me want a little one. Oh, he's so snuggly.
His mother travels constantly. I feel like I'm the only one that has to take care of him, but I can't. It's unsettling. Here I am. My father has me running this ambitious ad campaign, and I'm so overwhelmed. And then I get reeled into the bar with my sales team, and they can never get enough of me. Remind me to write you a check before you go.
You seem really out of it. How much did you have to drink tonight?
Who cares? My father's a piece of crap. Literally, so is my wife.
Can I heat you up a little coffee?
I would say stick around, but I'd be crossing a line.
Really, you're so wasted. I have no plans tonight. I can tend to Maddie if he wakes up. I have another bottle waiting for him, and can also distract him with all his fun little baby toys.
Thank you.
You're very lucky to have such a cute little one. He and I have so much fun together. No biggie if you're out late.
Well, I didn't want to, that's for sure. Maybe I'll have some of the coffee if you're still offering.
Cassandra walks to the corner of the room and prepares coffee.
So, Maddie didn't cause a fuss while I was out making noise for the old man? I'm impressed.
As I said, he's a bundle of joy. If he were my child, I'd dedicate my life to him, as I definitely would to any child someday.
You and my son are really hitting it off. Makes me feel like I want to redo my childhood all over again.
You should see all the fun we have. I like taking him for rides in his stroller and just singing to him.
My father wasn't that crazy about hiring younger babysitters like you when I was a child. The only caregiver I had was an elderly Hindu woman. She had no idea how to take care of me.
Shame. Your father should have known better. That should sober you up.
My parents divorced after my 12th birthday. That's when my father really got busy. Took me a long time to get out of the house and live my own life. Then I met my wife, Claire. She and I were so grateful when Maddie was born. It was like a dream come true. I promised I'd be a good father. My dad didn't even care, and he never will. Family. That's the real deal when it comes to life in San Diego. What brought you here?
My aunt is out here. And USD offers the best program when it comes to majoring in education and child development. Chad, do you think...
Think what?
Do you love your wife?
I wish you were around more. But the way we're talking, I feel like...
What?
Cass, why don't you stay tonight?
My roomies aren't expecting me for a while. You look like you need a back rub.
I
insist.
By all means.
Cassandra massages Chad's shoulders, and Chad breathes a sigh of relief.
You're not only a babysitter, you're a masseuse too?
On the side. But taking care of those kiddos is where I make my bucks. College is not cheap.
Glad to be of support. Every young girl needs a good college education.
Now you're talking.
Cassandra scratches gently on Chad's chest. He shrugs again. Chad's cell phone rings and he notices.
You'll get that later.
That's my wife.
Cassandra kisses Chad.
That should shut you up.
You're really something.
That's only phase 1.
Cassandra continues to rub Chad's chest with her fingertips.
Now phase 2.
Cassandra starts to undress Chad.
Look at you. You're perfect.
Chad and Cassandra continue to kiss. Then Chad's cell phone rings again.
She's calling me back.
Wait. She's in Philly. She isn't due home until tomorrow. This gives us the whole night.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about this.
You're so scattered. Relax.
Cass, I can't.
Can't what? There's no turning back. You did agree to letting me stay.
I did, but for Maddie, not for me.
Cassandra gets on top of Chad.
You're crazy. My wife...
Your wife what? Why don't we show her what kind of man you are, Call it stone cold.
Well,
Shh. It's a beautiful night. Cherish it.
Chad struggles.
What's the big hesitation about? I'm just giving you relief. Don't you want it? You were out almost all night. You're a real party animal.
Cassandra slams Chad's back on the couch and kisses him.
Just relax. We can do whatever you like.
What did you do?
Chad passes out.
That's the spirit.
Cassandra gets up from the couch, picks up Chad's cell phone, turns it on, and arranges his body to make it look like he's sleeping.
Have a little nappy nap while you think about how much you're not as loyal to my little Maddie. Scrawny conservative bastard you are.
Cassandra goes over to the counter and takes a pair of gloves and slips them on. Chad rolls over and mumbles.
Oh, that's right. Sleep tight. Some sick father you are.
A baby is crying in the distance. She puts on a little evil smile.
Well, I haven't forgotten about you, little boy.
Cassandra rushes to the kitchen and grabs the bottle of milk from the counter.
Don't worry, my baby. I'm coming.
Cassandra exits. 10 seconds later, she comes out with a blanket wrapped like a baby is in it. She puts milk on the counter. The baby's crying. Cassandra tries to calm it.
Look, Chad, your baby needs to be fed. Right, Maddie? You hungry?
The baby continues to cry.
It's okay, little one. Smile, Maddie, smile.
The baby continues to cry. Cassandra walks over to the corner of the room and puts the child down in a chair. She takes out a syringe out of her pocketbook and prepares it.
You hear that, you bastard? Your sick pervert self can't even tend to your child. What? Oh no. I'm not letting you near my little Maddie. Why? Because you think he's nothing, just like my father thought I was nothing. He was always cheating on my mother. Do you know what happened to her? She dies, and my father doesn't.
Cassandra takes out the syringe. The baby is making noises.
I never thought I'd be working for a womanizer, Chad.
Cassandra walks over to the baby and gives him a little tickle, and the baby starts to giggle.
Okay, little one. Say goodnight to Daddy.
She walks over to him and inoculates him, killing him. The baby starts to cry. Cassandra turns to the child wrapped in the blanket, picks him up, and soothes him again.
Shh. Shh. All done. All done.
Cassandra takes the bottle from the counter and feeds the baby. The baby starts to relax.
There you go. See? No more Daddy. Just you and me now. My roomies are gonna love you. There you go. Fresh milk for you. We're gonna have so much fun.
Cassandra takes the bottle out of the baby's mouth, grabs her purse from the corner of the room, and gives Chad's body an evil look. As she sneaks out with the child who is still crying, she lights a match and ignites the curtains, which catch fire immediately. Soon the entire room is in flames.
Bye, Daddy.
She exits. The baby is still crying. Lights fade to black.
Ben, Beer fest. Absolutely. That's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Really well done, my friend. I know you've been working hard on this, and guys, you were phenomenal. That was
literally the most phenomenal thing I've ever seen.
happy birthday. That was the birthday present for you. All right. So Ben didn't have any questions. This is all general. So we're gonna please, if the people in Zoom can raise their hand or put up the hand emoji. What are your popcorn moments? What are the things that stay with you? The turns of phrases, the imagery. What did you like? And I know that's a relative term in this piece.
Can I say something?
Who said that?
I did.
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
My heart is beating so fast from watching it. Whew. Creeped out by my own work.
Scary.
Yeah, well, and you've been working, like I said, you've been working really hard on that, and it shows. It absolutely shows.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I've seen this presented a few times. This is definitely the best. Your work has come through. Even though I know the story, I like to listen to it like I don't. And it is such a weird experience, not knowing what's happening. It's a kind of a vertigo almost. You're just sort of, is she good? Is she bad? What is it? And it's as it goes on, and then you get these little hints that you drop. And it's like, okay, that's not right. And then it gets a little more wrong and a little more wrong until finally you're just like in another world of evil. So, and Mandy was terrific.
Yeah, you're playing this in Fear Fest. You are playing this.
And Brad, bravo on your death scene, buddy.
Having seen this several times, Brad nailed. Brad, you brought everything to it that needed to be there. I thought you were excellent too.
This is why I don't drink coffee after 6 p.m.
You never know what's in it. Okay, thank you, David Kirby. Absolutely agree with that. Anyone else? Nick, who started sweating.
Yeah, it was a great slow burn. I really wasn't expecting that. I think I really enjoyed it, and I feel like with horror, it's kind of difficult to have that slow burn, and I feel like it was executed really well because it had us on the edge of our seats of being like, okay, like what's happening next? Okay, wait, it's getting worse. Oh wait, no, it couldn't possibly get worse. Okay, now it's getting worse. Now it's getting even more creepy. Wait, what's going on? And there's like that balance, I feel like, when it comes to like horror, where it's like you have to subvert people's expectations but also like keep them logically on to the next thing. And I feel like that was a great build. I really appreciated that. It was really fun to watch and like fun to follow. So it was very effective, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Great comment.
Amanda's hand is raised.
Oh, sorry. Oh, your icon hand, your emoji hand. Go ahead.
I loved the dad issues. I love that it was happening to a dad. I love that he had issues with his dad. I love that she had issues with her dad, and they all kind of just wove together flawlessly. So excellent job, Ben. Really good. Really creepy. And I have kids and I'm like terrified. I want to go check on them right now.
See, Ben, the little backstory you put in for her and for him about their relationships with the parent, that really helped solidify it.
Wow.
I agree with Amanda there. Absolutely.
Wow.
Go ahead, John. I was going to call you Luke.
That's my other name. Really great. Really, really creepy as hell. I love that she's as good and as sweet a babysitter in the second half as she is as the first half of the play. It's just now we know more. And so when she's taking a selfie and like taking care of it, I'm like, oh my God. But that's totally in line with who she is, right? So that was a very chilling thing that she's still a great, caring, loving babysitter. It's just there's this other thing she's got to do.
David, go ahead.
I was gonna say though, there's something about that though that right now it's a baby, and she has full control over it. What happens when the baby starts expressing its own will against her? You know, it kind of,
Yeah, disagrees, right? Yeah.
yeah, it's like, what will she do then?
Mandy.
There's a few Easter eggs in there too, though, Ben. There's one moment where she talks about making a living, like the whole making a living with children kind of thing. Really made me wonder if she sells these babies and what she and her are doing.
Oh,
And you know, that might just be the paranoia in my brain from what you created, trying to come up with make you crazy or make her really stone cold crazy. But I questioned that too. I think I guess I'm trying to say there's enough Easter eggs and ambiguity to let any audience member pick that, and that's yummy.
And I actually think that they should stay that way. I don't think you need to explain or add anything to that. If someone walks away and that's the conversation at coffee, you know, as creepy as it is, that's a great conversation at coffee. John Austin Wiggins, please.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mandy, about that particular Easter egg. But I was also, to address what David was saying, DMK was saying, I think Cassandra grows up and becomes Kathy Bates in Misery, or she somehow gets away with it and starts taking care of older
Rebecca
men.
De Mornay in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Right.
That's
So,
that is
Or like, whoa.
it's very much that same, and you really captured it incredibly well, Mandy. It was just beautiful.
Like, it's just like this. I wrote this particular piece because, like, I wanted to mix in the scariness of the episode of Days of Our Lives that I saw years ago and the scariness of the Criminal Minds episode that I saw.
You got to stop
I
watching
wanted to
Criminal
blend
Minds,
it.
Ben. You got to stop watching Criminal Minds.
To blend
Or maybe not.
blend it and make it my own, to get rid of the trauma and make something really spectacular that is
So
scary.
you get rid of your trauma and give us trauma. Is that what you're doing? Any other comments in terms of things we liked? Mandy?
No, I wasn't sure if we were going through all four of the questions. I'll wait. It's for another category.
No, so the next question is, was there any place where you lost interest, where you tuned out, that anything was confusing? Okay, next question. That one was easy.
Okay.
Was there anything within the piece that you thought, oh, that should be developed a little more? I'd be really interested in seeing that. Mandy?
I do want to know if this is her first night babysitting for them or if she has history with the two of them. I am curious about a little bit more of that backstory. And if she has, I want to know what her relationship is to the wife a little bit. I was curious about that.
You writing that down, Ben?
Yep. And
Good. We'll talk about it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yes. Chad.
Also, in that sort of same vein, but I first had the thought of, well, there's a question that he asked her, which is what brings you or what brought you here? And then I thought, well, he should know this by now. But also, then I started thinking about it a little deeper. I was like, but how much do people who don't care about people who are beneath them really invest in their lives or backstories? So it actually didn't bother me not bother, that's the wrong word, but I lost that thought after I started thinking, like, well, this is a person who doesn't care about people until he has to care about them.
Yeah.
It opens a good question too of like, if this is the first time or not even, if there's especially if it takes place in a city like New York, did they find her on an app? Did they find her on Craigslist? Was it a referral? You know, like I think.
yeah.
Right. It's San Diego. I've never lived there. Is that how like New York is San Diego? It's
San Diego was where the Criminal Minds episode took place.
And Mandy forgot already. I'm a bad actor. I'm sorry.
We only have a little bit more time. Any other comments? Any other general comments about it? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the absolute gold that is seeing this thing on its feet and seeing the transitions in physicality, especially with Cassandra too. Oh, gold.
I agree with that.
Justice, Bubba.
Ben, from where this came in the prompt to what you've done with it now, and some of the some of your audience here, especially on Zoom, have seen the evolution of it. This is the strongest iteration of it. This was really powerful. Brad, go ahead. I see you.
All right, just one other thing that popped up about her backstory. Where does someone like her get access to the narcotics that she ends up using on him? And if she is a student at UCS or USD, is she actually in some sort of pharma program or something like that? Like, what is her background? How did she get access to those things?
Write that down too, Ben. That's a very good question. And
How-
very easily,
Should she get access to drugs?
that's a really easy fix too. Kathy, did you want to say something? Anyone else? Okay, bravo, Ben. Phenomenal work,
Yeah.
work. And
Mandy,
thank you,
Mandy,
Brad and Mandy.
You have got to play this in Fear Fest if it happens.
We'll consult later, you and I. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, thanks for a creepy seasonal ride, Ben.
Yeah, good job.
We have another creepy one coming up too. So gird your
I was gonna
loins,
say
people.
that.
Okay. Thank you for that, Ben. That was excellent. Excellent. I'm so proud of you. I really am. Next up is a horse of a different color, but not too far. This is Amanda Hanna's Eggs, which she will talk a little bit about. Very proud of the fact that this was written in my class too. She's a fabulous writer. She's had work done in Heartbroke, which happened 2 Februaries ago, but now she was also, I got to direct her piece in Blurring Boundaries. So Amanda, is there anything that you want? I know that you sent me a list of questions, but just quickly, what do you want your audience to pay attention to and keep their ears open for?
My 2 biggest questions are, do you want to know more or less about Roxanne? And the ending, what do you think about the ending? Is it twisted enough? Does it need more explanation? I just want to know your feedback on the ending and Roxanne. Yep, that's it.
All right, so I'm going to leave you to it. We're going to just give a little background about the piece and introduce your cast, and then we will, and then we'll go. And whenever you're after she finishes, Kathy, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Playing Roxanne tonight is Emma Mueller, and Luke Hofmaier is John. Brad Mackarowski, I hope I said that right, is Richmond, and Kathy DiBiasi is doing our stage directions. And this is a play that I wrote. The assignment was to do 2 conversations happening at the same time, where it's basically like a monologue, but it overlaps. And my intention was to do it kind of scary and creepy because I wanted to enter it for Fear Fest. So enjoy. You can go ahead, Kathy.
Characters are surveying the basement of an old building, examining the details for a planned renovation.
It was cold for June.
Galvanized pipes originating in the northwest corner.
Roxanne appears lost in thought as her eyes scan the audience. She's nervous. John takes out a tool and starts tapping on the wall. He uses a device to measure air quality.
I was working late.
Possible asbestos.
Me and Mr. McCleary burning the midnight oil.
Order removal.
John opens electrical panel and starts fiddling with wires.
I remember feeling lucky.
Geez, Gramps would have killed you to upgrade this to 1980.
Lots of girls wanted my job, but I nailed the interview.
Pungent odor stemming from cracked foundation at the southeast corner of basement.
Our chemistry was immediate.
Electric panel needs to be rewired.
I hesitated at first because he was...
Wires married together.
But at first, after a while,
Potential fire hazard.
My mother warned me about this kind of thing.
John's phone rings.
I'm at Gramps building.
Men will stray, but you don't have to play, Roxanne.
Be there in 20 minutes.
John ends call as thunder rolls and lightning illuminates the stage.
Richmond?
Static is heard, followed by more thunder. John fiddles with the buttons on his walkie-talkie.
There was something special about that night.
God damn it.
The storm, maybe.
Roxanne smiles to herself as she removes her sweater.
It was just the two of us.
Rich?
John goes over to the basement door and finds it locked.
Where are my guys when I need them?
And I thought,
Fuck.
go on, Roxanne, just say yes for once.
John gives the door another pull for good measure.
Escape valve warped on power doors.
And that's when the lights went out.
The lights go out. John pulls a flashlight out from his tool belt.
We came down to the basement to check the fuse box.
John walks back to the electrical panel with his flashlight.
His keys jingled in time with his step.
John calls Rich on his cell phone as Roxanne removes her earrings and starts unbuttoning her shirt, very matter-of-factly.
Hey, Rich, the walkie-talkie crapped out. Power's off.
Thunder rolls and lightning strikes again.
Richmond, you there?
Phone lines go dead. John tries to redial as he rummages through his tools. He finds a granola bar and begins eating. Roxanne sits on the floor in the middle of the stage at John's feet, looking dreamy-eyed.
There was a picnic laid out. Right here. Grapes, champagne. It was...
Unbelievable.
John pushes his phone back into his pocket and tries his walkie-talkie again.
I'm locked in the basement. Quit playing.
That should have been my first clue.
Forget it. This is useless.
John abandons his walkie-talkie and decides instead to take a coffee break. He opens a thermos and pours himself a cup.
What kind of guy lays out a picnic and fakes a power outage to get a girl to sleep with him?
It's cold for June.
He handed me a glass and the bubbles went straight to my head. He put his hand on my knee and I didn't pull away.
John feels something dripping from above. He looks up, trying to figure out what it is.
First floor pipes leaking, possible flooding hazard.
Roxanne, still seated, shimmies out of her skirt and tosses it behind her. She's now sitting in her bra, underwear, bobby socks, and shoes, staring at the audience.
I was a good girl. All my life, I did what I was told.
Great. Another thing needs fixing.
I never stayed out past curfew.
John stands up and looks both ways. He's feeling uneasy.
Locked in a basement.
Never let a boy get past third base.
In the pitch black.
Said my prayers every night before bed.
Roxanne stands up. Now John and Roxanne are both standing, facing the audience.
Alone.
When he kissed me.
John's eyes go wide. Roxanne shows her open palm to the audience. Then she slowly curls her hand into a fist.
Crack. Like an egg. The warm insides came oozing out.
John wipes face with his arm. While looking out into the audience suspiciously, he feels like he's not alone.
Dripping down my face.
It was blood. My blood.
Can you hear me?
John suddenly looks alarmed. He grabs his neck. Roxanne puts her hands to her own throat as if choking herself as she speaks calmly. John is the one being choked.
What the fuck?
The whole time he gazed into my eyes.
I can't breathe.
The bubbles from the champagne made me feel like I was underwater.
John kneels down beside Roxanne on the stage, grabbing his throat.
Help.
Drowning.
Please.
He let go one hand to move up to my thigh.
Roxanne lets one hand drop to her leg. John's face changes to reflect a glimmer of hope.
That was my chance. I kicked him and ran.
John suddenly can breathe again. He takes heaving breaths to demonstrate this. Roxanne turns away from John.
It was a mistake. I should have let him choke me.
Roxanne slowly reaches in front of her and closes her palm, like a puppeteer. John is pulled back dramatically by an invisible hand.
Who's there?
Roxanne throws a punch in the air. John looks like he's being punched in the face.
You dumb whore.
Roxanne offers the audience a mischievous smile, approaches John, gathers his shirt collar in her fist, and pulls him close to her face. John doesn't see her.
Now you made me angry.
She slams John against the door, then walks away as he sinks down to the floor. He doesn't see her. John is terrified, waiting for the next blow. He protects his face.
What's happening?
Roxanne takes a drill from John's toolbox. She shows it to the audience, giving them a conspiratorial look.
Then prick
John's eyes go wide.
on the back of my neck.
John screams as the sound of a drill is heard.
My legs, I can't feel my...
Roxanne takes her time walking around the basement. She fixes her gaze on the southeast corner, then looks back at John.
I lay paralyzed while
Richmond!
I saw his face. He was enjoying it.
Can anyone hear me?
He covered me like tar, inky, dense, the buttons of his shirt pressed into my flesh.
Help me! Richmond!
I screamed for help.
I'm trapped in the basement!
Nobody heard. These walls are thick and the storm was raging.
I'm gonna die down here.
Roxanne faces the audience, removing her bra. She stands in her underwear, bobby socks, and shoes, as vulnerable as possible.
When he was satisfied, he drew for this.
Roxanne pulls a hammer from behind her back and hits it into her open palm as John screams and grabs his face. A blood-curdling scream escapes his lips.
What the fuck is happening?
Crack. Another egg.
Roxanne places her hands back on her throat and continues to speak calmly. John looks again as if he can't breathe.
I can't.
He turned me to liquid, stored what was left.
She glances again to the southeast corner.
Help me.
Then, suddenly,
Roxanne lets her hands drop from her throat.
release.
John somehow regains use of his legs. Miraculously restored to normal, he scrambles to his feet, feeling panicked. Roxanne walks over to the southeast corner and stares at the wall, tears running down her face.
I waited for someone to find me.
John reaches for his cell phone again. This time he gets through.
I'm trapped in the basement at 515 West 38th Street.
Nobody did.
The old McCleary advertising building. The basement is filling up with water and...
Used a pickaxe.
We hear the sound of a pickaxe hitting against a brick wall. John hears it too. His face registers the sound.
John McCleary, hurry, please. Something weird is happening.
Roxanne shrugs, lifts a white gallon bottle to show the audience.
He thought of everything.
John starts sniffing the air.
There's this chemical smell.
John stands beside Roxanne as the bricks in the southeast corner begin to tumble down. John quickly moves backwards away from the debris, but Roxanne stands there watching. She's filled with hope and he's terrified.
I don't even know
The building is caving in.
if there's anything left.
As the last brick falls, the rain stops and the lights come back on. John is startled by the sudden return to normalcy. Roxanne disappears off stage, leaving John gazing at the wall. He sees it, returns a moment later wearing a long white nightgown.
Oh my God.
Roxanne looks instantly relieved and happy.
Oh my God.
McCleary, you in there? The door is stuck.
John hears Roxanne finally. He turns and sees her for the first time. They share this moment of understanding. She smiles at him as they study each other. Tears fall down John's cheeks. Roxanne kisses his lips.
Hold tight. I'm gonna blow the lid off this motherfucker.
John and Roxanne both realize what Rich is planning to do. John sniffs the air again, then they both look terrified.
No!
No!
A blackout coincides with the sound of an explosion.
So
Well
we're getting
done, guys.
we're getting to Halloween a little early this year. Well done,
Amanda,
guys.
Fear,
Well done.
Fear Fest, Fear Fest 2022, Amanda, Fear Fest 2022.
Okay. I forgot that was the prompt, Amanda. So again, I love your writing, So two questions in the beginning that Amanda wants to have some feedback on. The first is, do you need to know any more about Roxanne, or is what's given enough for you to piece together the history of why she's there, what she's doing there, what her predicament is, and why she's, I'm going to add this, why she's relieved at the end. And then the other question is the ending. Is it satisfying? But so let's just start with, do you need to know more about Roxanne, or is it enough? Would more about Roxanne change how you feel about the piece? Anyone?
I don't think I need to know more about her. I think she's set up pretty well as to where she and how she got there, and the sort of tragedy that sort of befell her.
Okay. Anyone have an opinion? Anyone else?
I agree.
Roxanne, how about you?
I mean, I think that the character was super clear to me the first time I read it, and I don't think I need any more information to know what's happening and to feel for her a lot.
There's an interesting dynamic happening with her character, that she's telling her own story. So we see, and through John, we see the actions, the violence, but she's still, through her telling her own story, she owns her story, if that makes sense. And therefore, I think it's enough, because the violence happening to John, who I'm not sure if any of you got, do you understand John's relationship to the building?
It's same family, right? Same family name.
It's the grandfather, yeah. Is that that's an important question too.
Yes, definitely. Did you get that he was the grandson of her murderer?
I think if anyone potentially missed it, they wouldn't without the stage directions. Since the stage directions were sort of intercutting their dialogue, it would have been much clearer, that setup and the action sort of playing and hearing who they were and being able to track those that moment. So I thought it was clear.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Anyone else?
Reading it as John, it seemed pretty clear to me, and if I'm mistaken, let me know, but that John has no idea about this awful, tragic history of his family and his grandfather specifically.
He'd be a terrible person if he did.
Right. Or right. So it's almost like Oedipus, right? Finding out the truth and not being able to live with it.
So that's actually a very interesting point. Does he understand what happened to the extent that it involved his grandfather, or does he just understand that what happened to him was this experience that played out in the space, and then he sees the evidence of it hidden behind the wall?
I intended for him to understand it was his grandfather when they shared that look at the end, right before the building blew up, where she looks at him and he looks at her, and all of a sudden he sees her, and everything becomes clear in that moment to him, what had transpired, so the whole story she was telling the audience, he just got in that look. Like, okay. It's all just gone to him. Right before they both, well, she's already dead, but he dies.
So that's interesting to me. I feel as though if the last question we're asking me right now is what would you like to see further developed, it might be some recognition in some way on his face, something that let the audience know that was the case.
Okay.
But we're not on that yet. So, how about the ending? Was it satisfying? Did we understand that as the lights go out and the sound of the explosion, that neither neither the ethereal or the flesh and blood of these characters were going to survive it.
I felt the most for Richmond.
Right. I mean, he literally had a door blow up in his face. So.
Yeah, he had one job.
And he failed miserably. Was it an ending that was earned? I guess that's the other way of putting it. Was it an earned ending? Did you feel as though after everything that happened that it was satisfying?
I'll just chime in and just say, you know, if the theme of the night so far is sins of the father or sins of the grandfather and things that happen to potentially innocent people, you know, she was an innocent, and as far as we know, John is an innocent. So, you know, this sort of is history sort of repeating itself on an unknowing, unsuspecting, good-intentioned person, and that's the outcome that happens as a result of those.
A karmic balancing, as it were.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a really interesting comment. That's a really interesting comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's
anyone else have a thought about that? Yeah, Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, there's an interesting stage direction actually where it says John starts to hear Roxanne. I think the word is hear, not see Roxanne at first. So I wonder, it's like, how much is Roxanne's narration I'm starting to hear as John? So I'm not only seeing her represented in spectral form or whatever, but I'm also hearing the truth, like, you know, as if someone from beyond is telling me, which, you know, is knowledge, you know, that sends chills down my spines, obviously. But it's like, what did I hear? What am I hearing? You know, so that was an interesting hint for me, the stage directions. I wonder if the truth is so awful that in a way the explosion's almost a blessing for John, because it's like, how do I go on with this knowledge? You know, once I've learned it, you know, like I don't have time to really know what to do next.
Which is a very interesting comment, and which I think makes it more important that the audience know for sure that he understands.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
That brings me to, oh, I'm sorry, Kathy, of course, go ahead.
No, that just made me thinking about the ending and a question about that. Towards the end, at the very end, when the whole thing is about to explode, they both look terrified. And It makes me wonder, Roxanne is also terrified. And why is she terrified? Is she terrified because she doesn't want something to happen to John? So it makes me think about that.
She's terrified because this is her only chance to be discovered, that her, you know, she's a missing person. Her family never knew what happened to her. And she went through this whole thing to kind of now be found. So this investigation could kind of shine some light on the fact, oh, that's what happened to Roxanne, you know? And all of a sudden, right when she's discovered and she has this hope, like, okay, now I'm going, like, people will know what happened to me. It's just pulled away from her again, because the building is going to explode and whatever is left of her is going to be gone.
Okay, thank you.
Does that read?
Yeah. Does that read? That's a good
question.
No,
I actually, I get that. I was in a weird way, after what Luke said, without taking into consideration what you just said, I thought that the fact that he started to see Roxanne was him getting closer to his own death. And her,
you're right.
You know, right?
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah. He was foreshadowing.
Just so many layers, so many levels. Popcorn moments. We have time for popcorn moments. And again, it's all relative. I can't say that because I'm not a bad person, but I was intrigued, and it was very compelling, his going through the agony and pain that she had experienced, and where she's saying it calmly, he's really feeling with emotion and body ache and pain and things like that. The contrast between those two is very eerie but very powerful. Yes, Emma, go ahead.
Going off of that, less of a popcorn moment and more of a popcorn theme. I loved that we got at the same time, we got to like see the like extent of what happened to her, but we didn't have to see her go through it. And she also still got to tell her story. And I think like the coexistence of those two is really cool because I don't think we often get the coexistence of those two. It's normally one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Brad, did you have a comment?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I enjoyed imagining the potential for the sleight of hand SFX that could happen as John's getting beaten up or bludgeoned or whatever along the way. Sort of what a great opportunity for that to play out.
It's a very stageable piece to me. I think it has a lot of, like you're saying, it has a lot of potential. I can see it being staged and all the elements of it working pretty well and really doing a job on your audience.
Fear Fest 2022 for you, Amanda. Fear Fest 2022.
It looks like there are 2 plays already in contention. Any other popcorn moments?
One for me, just getting to play John, which was so much fun, was I love the idea of someone who's, you know, a handyman, someone who's very practical, sees problems, it's wires, there's a leak, tries to solve them, but now he's presented with a problem he can't fix.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Oh yes, Ben, go ahead.
Okay, so look, it was just as scary as mine, and like you have it in you too to write scary stories, and the way Emma portrayed it was literally fantastic. And you know, I just give Emma a lot of credit for playing another evil role. And you know, I mean, she's
was it evil though?
I don't know. Was it? Wait. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think she's evil. I think she's hurting.
Yeah.
And I think that if anything, her taking out like physical violence on John is like kind of like parallel to her like getting revenge on the man who did it to her. It's like he's like literally related. I don't know. I feel like that also is in there too. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, what you're saying is that the performance was very calm and collected, and which she needs to be, because again, there's a period of time that she has been waiting to be found, right? And circumstances brought, you know, the grandson of her murderer to a place where, you know, if things played out right, if the weather was right, if the rain was flooding, if things were going right for her, that this was the closest it was going to be for her to be found. And one, you know, how providential to be found by the grandson of the person who did you all that harm.
Yeah, and it's one thing I imagine, like if John were to hear from, let's say, his mother, oh, by the way, your grandfather did this terrible thing, this happened. Like, it's one thing to hear that news, and it's another thing to profoundly, viscerally feel what that terror must have been like without knowing why, just disoriented and horrified. And so,
yeah, which is basically her, you know, what happened to her that night. It was all, she thought she was there for one reason. It was about, you know, her, you know, maybe she was a bad girl because she was going to go out on a date with the boss and do all this, but it ended up being this other thing that you know, she didn't expect or didn't in no way thought that would ever happen to her. So that's the time, but any further comments about it? Okay, bravo, Amanda. Brava, sorry. Just wonderful. Why can't it be bravo? Just really well done. I was gonna say, did she get the prompt? Was she successful with the prompt? I think she was.
What was the prompt?
The prompt was 2 conversations parallelly happening that didn't have necessarily anything to do with one another. And then she came up with this beautiful concept of, this
I gotta
guy
go
did-
in. I gotta get in your class again.
we're doing very good work. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to John Austin Wiggins, disclosures. John, is there anything on the outset that you want people to pay attention to or keep their ears open for in terms of feedback?
Well, I'm mostly curious about if it makes, if there's some kind of sense to it. Look, this is the last scene of the play. And so if you haven't heard previous readings of other scenes, you might be a little bit lost. So it's important for me that it's clear, and that I would like to know if you have any questions that come up, if you are unfamiliar with the piece that just thus far, just what those questions are. But otherwise, I think
I actually think it's going to be very interesting for people who don't know the play, because I think you'll get a lot more from people who don't know the play by focusing on what's happening at hand,
right,
in this scene. So I'm very interested to hear this feedback, as you are, I know, but for a different reason. So why don't you talk about the play a little, introduce your cast, and Kathy, when he speaks no more, you can go ahead and bring us into the scene.
Great. Thank you, David.
Yeah, of course.
So, this is the final scene of the play. So you'll get some spoilers before you may know what actually has happened. Very briefly, as background, the two main characters, Santino and Stuart, are fairly newly acquainted, having recently discovered that Stuart's deceased husband, Luke, is Santino's father. And this is something new for both of them to discover. Santino's, their last encounter, Santino helped a drunken Stuart home and ended up staying the night. I won't say any more about that. When Stuart, except that when Stuart discovered Santino there in the morning, all hell broke loose and he threw him out. So this scene that you're hearing tonight is their first meeting since that encounter. I'm really fortunate tonight to have Stuart read by David Michael Kirby, and Santino read by Nick Imperato, and Kathy DiBiasi is reading the stage directions. Thank you.
Scene 10, the Brooklyn Bridge Walkway, Twilight. Stuart stands staring out at the skyline. He appears calm, thoughtful, the antithesis of how he was last seen. After a few moments, Santino, dimly lit, enters. Upon seeing Stuart, he stops, saying nothing. Stuart senses he's there, but does not turn toward or look at him.
I wasn't sure you'd come. It's breathtaking, isn't it? Colors of the sky reflecting in the water. Soon, when the lights come on and all those gray buildings, the water will be scattered with sparkling jewels, as Luke used to say. Used to be that I rarely noticed these things. My world was very small. My life so fucking routine. Same schedule, same route to work, same 3 or 4 takeout joints. They made me feel secure, but in reality, I think I was afraid of change, of the unknown. And one night on this spot, this guy on a bicycle hits me and changes my life.
Lights turn on to illuminate the arches of the bridge.
Bravo! Right on cue, buddy. Luke would applaud with glee like a kid at the circus when those lights came on. I'd never been with anyone like him before. His exuberance for life was infectious. He taught me how to feast at the banquet of life, to enjoy all its sensual offerings.
Santino moves to join Stuart at the railing.
He was so fucking physical. He loved biking, running, hiking, sex. It was his idea for us to join the rugby team. I resisted at first, afraid of getting hurt. Once I tried it, oh God, the physicality of the game became addictive. It was the best fucking foreplay ever.
There were team orgies.
Not for us. Luke and I were monogamous.
You miss playing?
Like any addict would.
Explains why you cram yourself between people on the subway.
It's not as intense an experience as rugby, but it satisfies my cravings for physical contact, which triggers strong memories of Luke. But I didn't ask you here for small talk. I want to apologize for how I treated you the other morning.
We're good. No explanation needed.
But there's more I want to say. Just fucking indulge me for a minute, will you?
Have at it.
I haven't slept with anyone since Luke. So waking up next to someone unable to remember how they got there was troubling enough. But seeing that it was you, that was fucking horrifying.
Gee, thanks. I'm flattered.
I don't mean you personally. It was horrifying because you're Luke's son.
Oh. You don't have incest fantasies?
What? Fuck no.
What, Luke never called you daddy?
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, you're right. Roleplay is not incest. And even if you and I did have sex, like technically it wouldn't be incest because there's no shared bloodline.
Who said
There's absolutely
anything
no
about
pregnancy
you?
risk in this.
What the
it's
fuck
just
are you talking about?
taboos around heterosexual procreation.
Stop changing the fucking subject, Santino.
I'm not. I'm just explaining that there
You're
are differences.
hijacking the fucking conversation, which isn't about incest or roleplay.
I apologize, but by all means, continue.
I've never shared this with anyone, not even Luke. He was so full of this fucking energy that sometimes I could feel it moving through his body. He'd be sound asleep in my arms, and there would be this fucking electricity emanating from him. It wasn't strong like an electric shock, more of a vibration, a very palpable vibration.
Geez, Stuart, I didn't take you for a kind of woo-woo guy.
I'm not. Do you have any idea the fucking balls it took for me to tell you this? My reputation as a hard-ass skeptic is on the line here.
All the more reason to reel you in before you go all Deepak Chopra on me.
Fuck you! And stop deflecting.
Sarcasm is my defense against overt sentimentality.
Or against feeling something.
Whatever. So Luke had vibrations.
When I woke up holding someone that morning, I thought I was dreaming. And I felt that electricity, that for a moment, Luke was alive and I experienced a peace I hadn't felt in months. And I realized it was you and I freaked out.
The mind can fuck with us when we miss someone as much as you miss Luke.
Yeah, maybe thinking that it was Luke was a mindfuck. But that energy I felt wasn't. It was fucking real. It was you vibrating, Santino, not Luke, you. What, no reaction?
You're the one who reacts. I deflect, remember?
Just tell me what you fucking think about all this.
Why don't you tell me what you think, Stuart?
You share Luke's life vibration, that energy. You're in the same tune.
You think it's hereditary.
Could be.
Or it could be another mindfuck. Or maybe that energy came from you, not me or Luke.
Jesus, man, why are you so resistant to exploring this? What's fucking up your mind?
My mind is fine.
Bullshit. You're afraid of an emotional connection.
To Luke? That doesn't exist for me.
Oh, bullshit. I see your expression when I talk about him.
What can I say? I'm a sucker for Lifetime movies.
Always the fucking comedian.
Fine. I'll admit, I've enjoyed hearing about Luke and your life together, but more for the joy it brings you than for any connection I might feel. Luke was a living reality for you. Your friend, your lover, your husband.
And now for you, your father.
No. Stuart, I've lived my whole life without a father. He's always only been an idea to me. Sure, sometimes I've imagined what it would be like if I had one, but fantasizing about a father who never was is not the same as remembering somebody who was a living, breathing part of your life. The real Luke is not my father. He's just a big memory of a nice guy with a nice smile.
Smiley passed on to you.
Do you really see a resemblance, Stuart, or is it just another mindfuck?
Yeah, the photos are pretty convincing.
Yeah. About those photos.
What about them?
Remember that letter I showed you?
Santino takes a photo from his pocket and hands it to Stuart.
This was in the envelope with it.
Who's this?
Read the back.
Who the fuck is Luciano Zanetti?
My real father.
You don't look anything like this guy.
Well, I did when I was his age.
Oh, bullshit. Besides, your mom's letter clearly stated that your father was Luciano Ramirez, not Zanetti.
The name in the original letter was Zanetti.
Okay, I'll play along. Original letter?
Stuart, my mother didn't write the letter you saw. I did.
Amazing.
What is so funny?
Never mind. Go on. Tell me why you wrote that letter.
Isn't it obvious, Stuart? It was a part of the hustle.
So you are scamming me.
Just as you suspected. I heard about Luke's death, realized that he,
He had a lot of money, blah, 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 right out of Hustling for Dummies. So our chance encounter on the train wasn't by chance.
all stage. I had watched you, learned your routine, brought in a couple of friends to help.
Must have been fucking freaky when you recognized Luke in that photo in my apartment. Didn't see that coming, did you?
He looks familiar, but that's all. I didn't know why until you showed me the pics of Luke with Mama and me. That was that unexpected hook that helped me reel you in.
It proved your connection.
Right. Mama knew Luke from school. But honestly, I only remember meeting him once.
It is fucking astounding how that worked out for you. I was convinced, you know.
That was the plan.
So convinced, in fact, that I scheduled a meeting with my lawyer to set up a special trust for you.
Santino is caught off guard by this revelation.
It's what you wanted, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, then why quit when you're so close to the payout? And then why tell me? You could have just disappeared.
I felt I owed it to you. I put you through a lot.
The con artist's Achilles heel, a guilty conscience.
I don't feel guilty.
It feels like an act of penance. Did you go to confession?
No. It was a practical decision. I have pulled countless petty scams without thinking twice about it. This one required more planning, a long-term commitment. It all became too complex to manage, and the variables were particularly difficult to handle.
Are you fucking kidding me? Everything broke in your favor.
Logistically, yes. I'm talking about personality variables. I'm not used to dealing with people like you.
I'm fucking flattered.
Petty scams don't require the degree of personal involvement. Most of the time, I don't even know my mark's name, and I only have to deal with them for a short time.
I'm not your usual victim.
You have a name, and the nature of this scam required dealing with your unpredictable personality for a long period of time.
Meaning you had less control.
The longer it continued, yes.
I get it. Still, there's one piece of the puzzle that doesn't fucking fit.
Oh, go ahead, tell me, what has your panties in a bunch?
Why did you stay? And don't say because you were concerned for my drunken ass.
It's the truth, Stuart.
The truth seems to shift according to what serves you best in the moment, Santino. What made you decide to stay, especially since you were initially determined to leave? You could have left any time. You fucking didn't. You chose to stay, and instead of sleeping in the bedroom or on the floor, you chose to sleep on the sofa with me.
You think I chose to sleep with you?
It would appear so.
Stuart, it was a part of the plan. Spend the night, cuddle, make you feel like we're bonding on a deeper level.
We are. We've been through a lot together over the past few weeks.
Yes, but you're the only one becoming emotionally involved.
Yeah, right. Well, my friend, I have my own confession to make. You know I used to practice law.
I did my research. You were a corporate lawyer.
Manhattan assistant DA.
Right. So
it won't surprise you that I'm a skeptic when it comes to the stories people tell.
you don't believe my stories?
Belief is subjective, as is truth without irrefutable evidence. Yours is pretty thin. A couple of photos of you, your mom, and Luke. The stories, hearsay.
You just said you were convinced.
I can tell stories too, my friend.
So all this time you've been what, humoring me?
And myself.
Fuck you. You know what? I don't fucking owe you anything. That's it. I'm fucking out of here.
Finally.
Santino starts to storm away.
Finally, an honest emotional reaction, complete with a dramatic exit.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you? Fucking asshole.
I like the unexpected. And colorful language is a nice touch.
Fuck you, man.
Santino starts to storm off again. Stuart grabs his arm.
No, you don't. We're not fucking finished.
Let go of me.
Not yet. What are you afraid of, Santino?
Not you, if that's what you're suggesting.
Maybe not me personally, but I think something about this scares you.
No shit, old man. I'm not fucking afraid of this.
Yet after coming this far, you're willing to walk away?
Stuart releases Santino's arm.
Santino, at the lowest point in my life, you showed up with this incredible tale of an unimaginable connection between us. You came at me with one fucking disclosure after another. You saw how it scared me. I was reeling.
As I planned.
So you keep saying. But at some point, things changed for me. It no longer mattered if you were hustling me or telling me the truth.
You gave up.
No. I stopped trying to figure you out. Instead, I found myself looking forward to seeing you. I started to like you. Your sensitivity, your snarky humor, your smile.
Luke's smile.
No, your smile. That's the point. I don't see you as Luke's progeny. I see you.
Are you falling in love with me?
Would you like it if I did? I'm not in love with you. What's happening is I'm allowing myself to see possibility of connection with someone beyond Luke. I'm finally finding closure and moving on with my fucking life. Thanks to you.
It wasn't in my playbook.
Was there ever a playbook, Santino?
You wouldn't believe me even if I said that there was. So.
You know, something shifted for you too in the midst of all this. I saw it.
What makes you think that?
Admit it. You like spending time with me too.
You were a royal pain in my ass.
Oh, true, but you felt comfortable with me. I didn't expect anything from you, and you liked that. And that, my friend, is the real reason you spent the night with me.
And you know this how?
I wasn't as dead-ass drunk that night as you think I was. I didn't fall asleep on the sofa right away. My eyes were closed, but I was aware of what was going on.
You played me.
I wanted to see if you take advantage of the situation. You know, go through my things, look for money or papers or whatever. To my fucking surprise, when I tried to pull you onto the sofa, you quickly relented and were sound asleep in my arms in a matter of minutes. Purring like a kitten.
You got me all figured out, don't you?
Hardly. I don't understand what scares you about emotional involvement. My guess is that it has something to do with feeling vulnerable and not being in control. And believe me, I know how that feels. Fucking sucks. But I'm not afraid to be vulnerable with you. I want you to know that you can be vulnerable with me too. I won't take advantage of you or intentionally hurt you. I'd like to spend time with you, no expectations. What do you say?
No expectations.
Only expect the unexpected. It's your decision, no pressure.
I'll think about it.
When you do, try thinking with your heart instead of your head. You know where to find me.
Santino nods and starts to walk away.
Where are you off to?
I want to catch that last sunset from the piers. They can be pretty spectacular there. All that Jersey pollution.
Want some company?
Sure. Why not? You hungry?
Ugh, fucking starved.
Me too. We'll grab a couple slices on the way.
Sounds fucking awesome.
You say fucking a lot, you know?
Yeah, get fucking used to it.
They continue talking as they walk off, as the lights fade to black. End of scene.
Okay, wow. John, what did you think of that?
I love what these guys did with it. I really appreciate how much you played with these characters and kept it so alive. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I thought this was a really good reading, guys. There's something
Yeah.
about the two of you and the way you see these characters that really, really worked. It was very powerful. So congratulations, and congratulations, John. I texted you a little in between this.
You did.
The tweaks that you've made, these adjustments that you made are wonderful, and I think they work really well.
Oh, great.
Does it make sense? Now this is kind of a two-pronged question, because some of you might know the piece, from what happens before, but in the sense of the context of this scene, John's question is, does it make sense? Is the information there for you to understand these characters, the relationship, and what this resolution is? Anyone?
I don't feel like I can answer, but I love how it reiterates their whole story.
Kind of does, right?
Scene, they touch on like the key moments.
Amanda,
Yeah.
you froze though. She said her it's spotty, so we'll wait for her
Yeah.
to come back to life. Anyone else? Oh, she's trying to enter again.
I have something.
Yeah, Emma, go ahead, and then Amanda, I know that you're back. We'll get you next.
I thought that it was super clear, and the only thing that I had questions about were what their relationship was like before the charade was up, which is explained by the rest of the play. And I haven't seen this at all before, but yeah, it was super clear to me.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Good.
Amanda, are you
Thanks,
back?
Emma.
There she is. Go ahead.
I am back. I love the twists and turns. I was completely riveted, and my internet keeps going in and out, so the sound is overlapping. What happened? What did Stuart say that turned everything around? I mean, it totally froze right before he was about to disclose, and I don't know what happened. And then it said Santino off, and Santino was like, I can't believe you did this to me. And what did he say? I'm really sorry.
That's all right. I have to find the line. Sorry.
I think it might be I was on to you all the time or something like that.
Hold on.
He knew he was being played. I got the impression he knew after when I came back, but I wasn't sure that's what he had said.
Yeah,
Right,
Stuart reveals he was the Manhattan assistant DA, and so he'd done his research, and he can spin stories too.
And he tells, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm
It
still
was
not
really
sure.
good.
I'm still not sure if I buy that. I'm still not sure if I buy that.
About
I'm still not sure if either of them are telling the truth, or if they're trying to push the buttons in order for the other one to react. And that's just because I do know the play, and because you've written these characters so well that I've projected things onto them.
that's okay. You can do that all you want. It's good.
So let's move on. Do we have popcorn moments? Anything? Any turns of phrases, imagery? What did you like? What stayed with you? Yes, go ahead, Kathy. 1 second, Amanda. Kathy, go ahead.
No, I was just riveted the entire time. It's two people, a lot of dialogue, and there was not a moment where I was just like, I mean, I know I had to keep focused if I had something coming up as a stage direction, but there was not a moment where I was just like kind of, not drifting off or daydream or anything. I was really wanting to know what happened. And the end, I love that it ended, the scene ended with, like, I chuckled with that, like you say fucking a lot or whatever. It was just really sweet and endearing, the way it ended. I love that.
And that moment always feels very real to me. Just, it's like they've been reveling or reliving all the drama that led up to this moment, and then it's like you get a hint in just that the way they're going to be with one another, and And it's
Amanda,
it's a really sweet moment.
Amanda, go ahead. We didn't hear the last thing you said. Sorry.
I just love that we've continued our theme of daddy issues straight through the night.
Yeah, it seemed to be a daddy night, huh?
Yeah, it's a daddy night.
And I love the talk about physicality and the rugby, because he's talking about all these physical things, but underneath it, it's such a sentimental layer, and it's this layering of sentimentality and nostalgia. You can almost feel like their relationship. You can feel the relationship he had with his ex-partner, and it became very real. It went from talking about physicality to almost being this third character in the scene with them. You could almost see him there, you know? And then all of a sudden, all these bombs start exploding, like, oh, that's not my dad. Oh, I'm a con artist. Oh, I'm onto you. You know, it's like, it just pulls you down this hole. And I was completely riveted. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. It's great comments.
Nick, go ahead.
Okay, there. I just wanted to, one of my takeaways that I really wanted to highlight was the relationship between the two of them. There is this idea that I feel like Stuart was getting onto, which is kind of what I see or feel like I see in my everyday life of, I had this amazing connection, or I felt these things inside of me, and it was like magnetic, and it was off of the page, and it was this and it was that, and we all have different like names for it, like fireworks and butterflies. And then, you know, the character Santino asks him, he's like, well, are you sure that's what you were feeling? Because a lot of the times I feel like so many times people think, well, if I'm feeling that, you must be feeling the same exact thing. But that's not the case. And I kind of like too that he didn't exactly like negate it, but he kind of framed it in this way of just like, if that's what you were feeling, that's what you were feeling. Like you can't have me share this experience that only you had. I don't know, I just found it was really poetic and also just kind of realistic and almost calming in a way of just like, it reminded me of conversations that I feel like actually happen. And it was nice. And I like it too, because it's not necessarily like the character Santino is being like, no, I didn't feel anything, like I'm whatever. It was just all a scam. It was like, clearly he did, but he's not about to, you know, play into that. He's going to be realistic about that. And I just found that was so effective. And it was just, it was very interesting to me.
Okay.
Nick,
Yeah.
can I ask Nick, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So is Santino telling the truth about the scam?
About like
about scamming Stuart? What do you think?
The way that I read it and then I was playing it is that yes, that was the truth. But I feel like, you know, I feel like if someone is a scam artist, if they're a hustler, they kind of have to put a part of themselves into the lie to make it believable. Right. So this reminds me of another play too. It's irrelevant, I won't say it here, but I feel like, yes, like it is a lie, and I think he did do it and that it was planned, and I don't think he's lying about that. But there's something about, you know, in order to pull it off, you have to be believable. You kind of have to be truthful in it to pull it off. So I feel like, yes, if that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to finish up. Are there any other comments?
I wanted to say something because you know, this is now the third time I've read this scene, and it's come such a long way. And from the writing class the other night, we talked about the energy of Luke and that whole scene. And I don't know, I kind of improv that line because there was one line that still had force in it. You know, and Luke's force always makes people think of Star Wars, as we learned.
Luke's life force.
Luke's life
Luke's
force.
life
Yes.
force.
The force was with him. But then in that moment, I kind of improv that line, and it went a little longer than I thought. But I was thinking about vibration, and vibration is sound, and sound is music, and maybe there's something that you can do with that, and you know, even make a corny line about beautiful music together. But there was a harmony that he had not felt since Luke in that moment. You know, that there was something like, just another way to describe that kind of energy without relying on force and
yeah,
or just something to think about. That. But
Thanks, David. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, that is
just-
it. Go
I'll
ahead,
just add
Brad.
one final thing in there. Unfortunately for me, this is the first experience with this piece and only seeing the sort of the latter half of it. But there's also something really interesting about seeing where these characters have ended up as of this point in the play or their lives or what have you, to see what type of card players they are. Whether they are revealing all of their cards or they're peeling off one card as one peels another, or maybe someone's got a full house and someone's got four of a kind, but they're still waiting for the other to bluff to show. And it's really interesting to see how they navigate each other throughout the end of that, and how what type of chess players they are or were leading up to this moment. So really, really fascinating.
And to go back on my comment then, because I really truly believe what and connect with what Brad is saying, that they are playing each other in a way so that they don't get hurt. And sometimes they'll tell the truth, but other times they'll say something in order that they don't get hurt.
Or to get a reaction, or to see
get a
where they
reaction.
stand.
Exactly.
Or to bait the other person.
Right.
Exactly. So that's why when I said that I don't believe either of them, it's because they haven't come to the point where they can be honest with one another. They're still doing that dance. They're still navigating, which is exciting and compelling. And the fact that they say, get used to it. Let's go get fucking pizza. Let's watch the fucking whatever. That that at some point it might happen, but you don't have to witness it. You know that they have the tools and that they're moving forward no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah, really, really well done, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Brad.
Playwrights, Birthday Boy, Ben Dworken, playwright Amanda Hanna, playwright John Austin Wiggins. Wonderful, talented acting troupe this evening. And thank you again, Kelly DiBiasi, Kathy DiBiasi, for reading stage directions.
Kathy!
Really
Kathy DiBiasi!
Congratulations! We threw some things at her. She had to think on her feet and
yeah, I'm sorry I had to do that to you with
Don't worry.
It was totally fine. I was good.
So welcome to the ambassadors, welcome to the labs, and thank you so much for your help tonight. Just a couple of things. The feedback link has been put up on YouTube. You people on YouTube, I'm going to put the links up in the description of the lab, and then if you want to, it's really important. This is a really important process for a playwright to have their work read aloud, to make sure that they're communicating not only to the actors on the page, but to the audience. And so feedback is essential. So if you don't mind and you really felt something about these pieces, then how could you not? Please take the time to fill out the doodle. The Google feedback form. Also, a monthly newsletter. Ben is going to put in and I will put this up, monthly newsletter. If you don't if you're not on our mailing list, please do. You get all the links in terms of playwriting, in terms of acting in the labs. You get all the information about what's coming up with new ambassadors, and it's every 2 weeks. We're not going to throw it at you every week. It's every 2 weeks, and it's just the stuff you need to know, I promise. Donation on the website. The doodle for the acting for LAB49 is live, and Ben's going to put that in this, and I will put it on the YouTube. It's also going to go up on Facebook
already did
tomorrow and on the website. And the
if you want to donate, please donate on our website.
Thank you, Ben. The next Lab 49 is Friday, October 22nd. It's hosted by company member and secretary Maile Binion. It's bound to be a good one. Featured playwrights are Erin Moughon, Natalie Neckyfarow, and Deven Alex Sumner is going to bring.
Deven Alex Sumner, yay!
Is going to bring us back some Witcherwood. So that's very exciting. It's going to be a good lab. Tonight was a great lab. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. So thank you all. So we're going to say goodbye. Did I miss anything, David Kirby? Please.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay. Have a good
COVID is
night,
almost
everyone.
over, so we're gonna get back on stage soon.
Yes, yes. I think what we're going to do is in February, we're going to do Heartbroke Live.
Yeah.
I've participated in a couple of audiences in theater, and people wore masks, people behaved, but it was such an emotional experience. To be in an audience is essential for anyone's soul,
Yep.
and of course for the good of theater in New York. So I'm excited about that. And so is Ben, right, Ben?
Yeah, because I finally get to be with my new ambassador's family in person once again.
Exactly. All right. So I'm going to stop the live stream and we're all going to wave goodbye. Thank you. Be